Ladies and gentlemen, as always, welcome back to the BB-Scho. I'm your host, Beebs. I'm here with my co-host, Chen. Chen, how you doing on this fine NBA Tuesday?
Well, I'm doing all right. Bucks are still undefeated, so it's a good day. They got the Pistons tomorrow, so knock
Bucks
on wood, should be all right.
Bucks are indeed very good, as expected.
Yeah, they're good. They're good at basketball, man.
But scoop of the day, I guess. The Nets fired Steve Nash today. Immediate
Yeah,
reaction.
very. What was that?
So, do you have an immediate reaction?
Too soon, in my opinion. Like I got there 1-5, but then they won against the Pacers, and I believe they play again tonight. And it's like I don't know. I just think it was definitely too soon, and I don't really know how to even really look at Steve Nash's coaching career. I guess I feel like I might be in the same boat as a lot of people. Is like he might be a good coach. Like you look at Jason Kidd, his first two stints, the Nets and Bucks were bad, but the way he's made the Mavericks, I mean, they have Luca and Christian Wood, and even last year, like what he could do with basically just Luca and Brunson. Like I love Brunson, but if your number two is a 6'1" guard with it's just I'm assuming Steve Nash is going to get another opportunity, but I really don't have like in terms of instant reaction of like, is this going to make the Nets better or worse? I don't know. It kind of seemed like KD and Kyrie were out on Steve Nash, so if they're
Yeah,
already kind of
I think that's the bottom line
the,
here.
the reason it happened in the first place, yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, look, we talk about here's my problem with this is the meme is always like, how does this affect LeBron's legacy? Like, okay, how did like sub in KD because this is exactly what KD wanted, and that's why I've never understood why he's been so discontent ever since he left Golden State. Because he's playing with Kyrie where he wanted to. He had Harden. That just didn't work. I don't even know if he played like 10 games with Harden, so I don't even know how to like classify that.
Gauge, yeah.
I don't even know if Steve Nash wanted to be a coach before he got a call from Kevin Durant saying, "Hey, do you want to coach us?" And then it was like mid last season after they'd gone through all this roster change and all these changes, he just like turned his back on the guy that he picked. He's like, I want to leave. He did request a trade, right? I'm pretty sure he did.
Oh yeah, he did. That
And
was
so
formal.
it's just like, what are you? I don't understand it. Like to the slightest. Like at some point, you have to actually like go on the basketball court and compete. And somewhere in between 2016 OKC Kevin Durant and 2022 Brooklyn Nets Kevin Durant, that aspect is almost gone for KD. Like I hate to be that guy and call him out for that, but like the bottom line, I just don't understand it. Like, what do you have to complain about? What excuse do you have to be 1-5? That roster is better than 1-5. It's you and Kyrie. Are we just here's my question. Are we just past? Is this going to be the year we look back at and we say, okay, we're past the LeBron and Kevin Durant era. They're too old.
Kind of seems like it might shape out that way, but both teams have a lot of different parts. Like just, and that's why, like, yeah, I kind of agree that it probably was KD that pushed him out. I don't think it's a good decision, you know, on his part. But like the Nets, I believe Royce O'Neal was a new addition. There was another, I believe it was a guard they picked up. I am not can't think of his name. And listen, Ben Simmons is obviously a major one. So yeah, I think the roster is better, but I also think they need time. Joe Harris just came back from injury. Like it wasn't gonna be pretty to start, and
Well, it
they had a
just
tough
feels like they
schedule to
were
start.
like
Like they
if
played against the Sixers, the Bucks. They were close in all of them.
yeah,
I just don't really see the reason to fire Steve Nash. I guess at this point,
no,
that's just
that's the
my
part that
opinion.
doesn't make sense to me either. Like if he was this close to being like on the hot seat,
Just got to
that
play
you're
the
gonna
season.
fire him 6 games into the season. Like this isn't the NFL where it's like 6 games into the season is like a third of your season. Like
Right.
they haven't even played 10% of their games yet. So like
Yeah,
it
no,
doesn't. It really. It's like the
it,
decision
it
was
would be like
made.
after going 0-2 in the NFL, you cut bait with your coach. Like that's the equivalent,
Yeah, and you
and
have
that's
like
ridiculous.
yeah, and honestly, it'd be like if the Bucks started 0-2. Actually, no. Yeah, you could say the Bucks started 0-2 this year, and Brady just ran Todd Bowles out of town. Like that. That I think is like the NFL equivalent, or even like if Matt LaFleur just got canned
No,
after
that
going 0-2.
it really
I
is
don't
like
think
the
I don't want to
equivalent
say
of
like
situation.
I think Todd Bowles is better because LaFleur actually has had more success than Steve Nash, in my opinion. But like, it's not apples to oranges. So, but it really makes look unless they're a shoe in, and I think it's very likely they're a shoe in to hire Ime Udoka.
Mm.
It really doesn't make much sense. So unless that deal has like already been written and they're waiting like a day to announce it to get
Yeah,
the
and they just want him.
yeah, which I think if I had to guess, that's what Woj said. That's what Ian Rappaport said. Like, not Rappaport, he's the NFL guy. It was Woj. I forget who the other NBA guy is. But
Shams,
who?
probably Shams.
Yeah, probably right. But um, yeah, I don't know how I felt. Like, how do you feel about it being Ime Udoka in Brooklyn?
That's probably the best thing for them because he was the guy that swept them. Like not literally, obviously that was the team, but he drew up the game plan that ultimately swept the Nets last year.
I mean,
Who
is
had
he?
they had Kyrie and KD. I understand they didn't have Ben Simmons, but the way Ben Simmons is looking, that wouldn't have mattered.
Yeah, you should win a
Um,
game with Kyrie and Kevin Durant.
yeah, like realistically too, but it's like they just he drew up just a masterclass game plan, and so it makes sense as an organization to be like, let's go get the guy that beat us. Like it's one of KD's classic moves. Like they're just you would think if KD's going to recommend a coach, he's going to recommend one that's going to follow in his footsteps. So it makes a lot of sense. And I guess to just answer your original question on is this going to be the year we look back and be like, is it the end like the LeBron KD era? People could make the argument that
It was
is already
last year.
over.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could. But I also, was kind of touching on the fact that I do think the Nets are going to get better and improve. The Lakers as well. They moved Russ to the bench and finally got a win. Like things are going to get better for these teams, not worse. But I would say like they're not. I didn't have either of these teams in like my top 2 or 3 contenders. You can realistically
Yeah.
say that that's on like a good
I mean,
day,
does
but
does
the
does
way they look,
KD
it's
does KD buy in to Udoka? Because I don't think they see success unless he does, and he didn't. I don't think he ever
I
bought
think
Steve
he
Nash.
probably made the call or like talked that he's like, go get this
I mean,
dude.
because he's correct me if I'm wrong, but I know Ime Udoka for his defensive coaching. Honestly,
Yeah,
like
probably.
I mean,
And that might be what
that's what
KD
stuck out to me about
wants.
the Celtics. But like,
I think initially KD was like, let's get an offensive guy in, Steve Nash. Realized we have plenty of offense. KD can sleepwalk to 30. Let's go get a defensive coach, specifically the one that knows how to stop us. And him and Kyrie probably thought they were unstoppable for a very good point. So I think this would be a really good match. I think KD, if he's smart, will buy in, especially because I'm just assuming he signed off on this. Like, where do
yeah,
we just got to assume that even if it wasn't his
is
pick,
this
he
his last? Is this his last year in his contract?
he's got like 3 more years.
He signed a 6-year deal, or did he
Or
resign?
like it was, yeah, he like re-signed. You'd have to fact check me on that, but I think that was why there was just not a trade in the works for him because like it
He's
was
got 2 years left.
2 years. Okay,
Well, actually, what year did he
maybe the
sign?
player option.
He signed a 4-year deal, but I don't know what year he signed. No, this
Interesting.
is his last year, which would make sense why there wasn't a trade.
Okay. Well, regardless,
Sorry,
I,
he just signed a 4-year deal. I mean, I just read that wrong. He's not a free agent until 2026.
okay. So yeah, I was.
You were correct. I misread that.
Okay. Okay. Well, yeah.
Uh,
I mean, that does make it in terms
and
of
he's
value. When you saw
34.
what Gobert got, oh yeah, he's gonna be 38,
Uh huh.
and we see what LeBron's doing, but
He's gonna be
not
38
everyone.
and making 53 million.
Right. Yeah, and not everyone is LeBron. And now, granted, Katie's game should translate well for him. I don't know how well his mobility is going to do later in his career, but if he can
People
shoot,
change. Like I always say, like
yeah,
I always just like refrain from saying, "Oh, he's not going to transition while being an older player," because there's you look at guys. I mean, just off the bat, like MJ and Kobe, who just completely changed like their identity from high flying slasher to like a post up, post fade, like you know,
that is true.
ancient
And
or guys like Derrick Rose, guys who just kind of like morph their game as their
Brooke
body.
Lopez,
Exactly. Guys who have morphed their game as their body has started to deteriorate. So it's not uncommon. I would be shocked if Kevin Durant doesn't find success. I mean, he can
but
shoot the ball well enough to be on a team at 38. So
right, I was gonna add. It seems like the change is to be able to shoot,
yeah,
and since he's already got that, he should be good for a while.
I
But I would
mean,
agree. 50 million for
the real question
bottom
mark is will
shooter.
he be worth $53 million in 2026? And
Yeah, that's
time will
hard
tell.
to tell. Yeah, very hard to tell, especially with the injury history. But
But yeah, this is a weird. If it is Udoka, how do you feel if you're the Celtics? If you're Jason
from what I've
Tatum?
seen, like they got this coach who's the youngest in the NBA. He's 34.
I mean, they look good. Don't get me wrong, but I think there's got to be a level of like, how did that happen, right? Like, if you told me this in June,
Yeah,
I
no,
don't. And
it's
nobody knows
definitely a
what the
big turnaround.
story. Nobody knows what the real story was either.
Right, and that could be part of it. Is the Celtics are just like ready to move on. Like they just think coming back from suspension seems like this coach is coaching well. You don't want to have to make that kind of decision, and they're probably just gonna let the Nets make it for them, and that's fine. And I guess for a player aspect of it, like Jason Tatum, Jalen Brown, if they're playing well, I don't think they're gonna be upset. But I don't know what their personal relationship was like. Like I think,
Yeah, it's tough to tell. It's all
and it,
speculation.
but it all speculation. But I would say I think if it was important, um, not saying it's like they don't have like they might have like a solid relationship, but like if it really mattered to them, they probably would be playing well under this new coach. That's just my opinion. I feel like they, you know, play a little bit worse. But
Uh, yeah, I agree. I think that's fair. I don't really have much to add. That's fair. I just, at the bottom line, like to circle back before we move on, to circle back to Steve Nash, I think he should get another opportunity somewhere. I think that there's just been so much roster turnover in his tenure that it's like,
yeah, it's hard to assess.
how do you blame him in a sense? Like, how do you know if he was good or bad? Like, it's going to be a risk, but I think Jason Kidd is a great example of a guy who struggled early on as a coach and has now kind of found his groove. Still looking for a little playoff success out of him, but I mean, they did go to the West Finals, so never mind.
Right. Yeah. And take a couple games off Golden State. I mean, I got to give them
Yeah,
credit.
yeah. With their roster, I think that's impressive. So yeah, I don't. You should have just made the move before the season started. If you ask me, it sounds like this was already
Writing was on the
happening.
wall.
Yeah, but let's pivot. Um, we can talk about the Bucks a little bit. What's yeah, I know you're gonna enjoy that. I'll phrase a question like this. What's it gonna take to beat them come April, come May?
The only thing that has beaten us in the past is usually not teams beating us. It's we just don't shoot as well. We shoot ours like it's Giannis does his thing, and then we'll shoot like extremely bad with, and that was in years past with Bledsoe, a bunch of guys that don't matter anymore, clearly. But like this year's roster, I don't know if that's gonna happen. I'll tell you how we lost last year was not having Middleton. Again,
Injuries.
injuries. Holiday putting up 30 shots isn't just didn't go well for him. He shot very poorly. Yet that series still went to 7, and it was really due to like an Al Horford like 30-point game performance, and then Marcus Smart like the next game at like 26 or something. Like there's just some crazy fluky stuff that happened there.
Which to be fair, always happens in the playoffs. There's always somebody
It
or some team that
does.
steps
It
up in a key
does.
moment.
But it's like if we just had like one more of our guys, like we were
No,
kind of that
I
close. And
agree. If you
so
have Middleton, it's not like you win the series. Like you're going to win
right.
the series.
So when it's and then the year prior, obviously they won against the Suns for the finals. So it's like, what's stopping them here? It's like, well, if we just miss like all of our shots and go extremely cold, I mean, on any night in the NBA, you can lose or injuries. Like that's pretty much it.
I think they're
Because
bona
what team is
fide.
constructed? Can you? I guess my question is is I'm struggling to even think of a team. Is there any team in the NBA that can realistically like has a matchup advantage against the Bucks? That like the Bucks aren't going to be able to cover
defensively. A maybe the best team that has a chance of slowing the Bucks down, in my opinion, might be either the Celtics or the Nuggets. Offensively, I know they're struggling, and we can talk about them later. But I think that if you guys got into a shootout with Golden State, that matchup to me seems like no team can stop the other team. Like both team matches up very well against that team's defense, I guess.
right. Really, just who shoots worse.
Yeah, that's and if that's the case, I'm going to take Golden State.
If they don't mark Giannis, yeah.
Yeah, which is, say what you want. Like, I think that would be, that's the series I'm rooting for come June, because I think that would be the most entertaining. I think that would be the game's two best players going at it in the finals. And who I can't even name the last time that actually happened. So as a fan, that's what I'm rooting for. The one matchup that I do find interesting as well would be you guys against Denver. Just because I think that they do have the interior defense to potentially slow Giannis down and force the shooters to win you guys games rather than Giannis. So, yeah, I mean, it's a tough question because they're 6-0. That's a very short list of teams that I think have the potential to outscore the Bucks. That's not even. Yeah. I didn't even answer the question in a 7-game series either.
That's really, I think, the bottom line, and what makes it so problematic is the success of the Jordan teams back in the 90s. You knew Jordan was good for 35 every night. Yeah. It was a very reliable thing. You build up a decent team around him, you're going to win every year.
Yeah.
LeBron James, as much as you can, not saying he's on the level. Well, they're on the same level, but LeBron, at 9, 10, whatever straight finals appearances.
Exactly.
Because he's good for 30-some every night. That's what Giannis is at this point. And
he's the best player. He's the best player in the world.
Right. And so you got that team that's around him. And honestly, they could probably make playoffs like Holiday, Middleton, Lopez, Portis. They could get a playing spot. And so when you add Giannis to that mix, that just screams to me like clearly the front running team should not lose, like should go. I mean,
this isn't news.
No, it's not. But it really reminds
you're
me
saying it like it's this giant, like, oh, this team's a contender. Like, no, we all knew this. They're 6-0. Like,
well, I'm just as a Bucks fan, I'm obviously gonna be happy, but in terms of the like escape of like the Eastern Conference. It seemed that it was going to be more crowded this year. Things are going to get interesting. I think it's going to get interesting with the middle playoff teams and towards the bottom, but like in terms of who's coming out of the East, this is kind of like the Cavs Warriors years all over again, except I don't know who's coming out of the West. I just know it's gonna be Giannis. It's barring injury to him, really, at this point. I
Yeah.
think they could honestly, the way they're playing, they've shown they can win without Middleton. They've beaten the Nets, the Sixers. It would be tough, but I wouldn't even have to completely hold it against him.
Yeah.
He's at that point in his career where you saw LeBron get to the finals without Kevin Love or Kyrie. Like some players are just too good.
I have to agree. I think, people talk about, oh, Bird and Magic were the face of the league. We kind of mentioned this with KD and Durant. Bird and Magic passed the torch to Michael. Jordan passes to Kobe. Kobe to LeBron. KD kind of played second fiddle for a long time, but LeBron was the face of the league. And I think that Giannis is next up. I mean, you could argue that the last couple of years have been Steph Curry, but um, Giannis is clearly next up, and maybe Luca. But at this point, I think we're entering an era where Giannis begins to stack up championships and starts to build his case against the rest of the Mount Rushmore. So I agree with everything you're saying. It's going to be the Bucks are the toughest out in the league right now.
That's fantastic news to my ears. And it'll continue obviously tonight, or excuse me, tomorrow night. They got the Pistons, but on a other note,
on the flip side of
yeah,
6-0,
quite
there's a
quite
team that
literally.
we have talked extensively about, so we can
Oh, you have to. It's
reserve
like,
our. We'll talk about them a little bit. The Lakers are 1-5, and you sat here last week and you begged me to take back my hesitance and dislike for the Grizzlies. I am now doing the same for you with more evidence. If you had one mulligan on your playoff predictions, I am begging you, please take the Lakers off of your 3 seed because they're terrible.
there's a really good reason why I'm not going to. They did what I wanted them to do and what they needed to do for them to be a 3 seed, and that is put Russ on the bench. Because not only did it help their bench unit get cohesion, it made the bench shooters get more open looks because Russ was there causing problems for the other team's second unit. They were able to use other guys on the floor because they have to worry about getting the ball in Russ's hands. They're able to get AD and LeBron every moment. It wasn't Russ, sabotaging possession or going
Who
solo.
who did
It
start over Russ?
it was like a lineup of AD, LeBron, Pat Bev, I believe Austin Reeves, and Lonnie Walker.
They're starting Austin
Hey,
Reeves.
Hillbilly LeBron kind of goes crazy. I'm not gonna lie,
Oh my
and
gosh.
Hillbilly Kobe, sorry, but listen. And the only reason I'm like really sold on this is gonna keep working is they beat the Nuggets, who we just mentioned, who is going to be a problem, especially defensively down low. And not only did LeBron and AD still do their things, they were able to get the rest of the team involved. Russ actually did look good off the bench. He had like 18, 8, and 8 off the bench. That's really good. I think Darvin Ham might have found something here. And
Well,
we
we were
talked
all
about how good the
screaming it
Bucks
from the
were.
beginning of the year. We said this would work better if he came off the bench.
Right. And so that's why I'm not only am I not panicked, I ain't mulligan nothing, man. I'm riding with the Lake Show all the way.
We will see about
I think
that.
they could go even higher than 3. Granted, if some of these rough starts from the Western teams,
There
they
are
could
some
go
rough
on a run.
starts. There are some rough starts. You know what? If you don't mind, let's pivot to Golden State a little bit. I'm a little interested to hear where you're at. They're 3-4, 3-1 at home, 0-3 on the road.
Correct.
obviously, I'm assuming I'm definitely not pressing any panic button or holding any reservations at all. But I guess the question is, my question for you is, what's the why do you think the reason for the early season struggles? Is it just championship layover, not as fresh legs, or is it something else?
It's really, I'm just going to keep sticking to the point, especially when it applies to, because it's the start of the season, and if a team's got a lot of moving parts, like you look at the Bucks, we're missing Middleton, but our entire roster is the same. So we're gonna start fine. Everybody's in cohesion. The Warriors, yeah, they're able to bring back everybody, but they also have new additions to the rotation in terms of James Wiseman. That's a big deal considering that's
Kuminga.
your center. Yeah, like that changes a lot of things on the floor, especially him being a younger prospect. I believe even like Kuminga's getting more minutes. They're doing different things than they did when they were in their playoff mode, trying to win every game. They're definitely using some more guys in rotation. And Klay Thompson's been just bad. I'm not pressing the panic button on him yet. I think he even missed last game, but overall he's been shooting pretty poorly, and that's just not going to continue. Um, and I think they're still going to probably struggle. Like it worked out for them, but like they just paid Jordan Poole when it's going to be the time. I think Thompson's like 34 now. That Jordan Poole eats into those minutes, or even
I think he already is
takes
eating.
over the role.
He's definitely eating into the minutes. I think it's a matter of when he breaks the starting lineup.
Yeah, like
But
I'm almost wondering if that might happen at a certain point. Should Klay Thompson continue to struggle,
I
just due
don't
to the
think
fact that Jordan Poole's not. I mean, him and Steph both dropped 30 on the same night. They've shown they can play side by side together.
I think the Poole off the bench is a little similar to the Westbrook situation for now. Just because he can go in there and just I think that Poole's I mean, he's a borderline. I don't want to say this and catch flack for it, but he's a borderline all-star. Definitely an all-star in the making.
For sure.
And so to have that coming off your bench with a bunch of young guys who haven't played very much, you get that steady contributor. I think it's best for them right now. I have to agree they are definitely struggling defensively. There's a team that's typically top five. They're currently ranked. I want to find this. They're ranked 15, tied for 15 defensive rating. So I know it's early in the year, and there's a lot of everybody's pretty congested in terms of that, but this is a little bit off of who they usually are. They're usually a top defender. So I think that's due to young guys. You got to think about the guys they're missing too. I mean, they're missing Gary Payton, who was their best defender, Damian Lee, who was just a solid role player. And I agree with your take. Young guys, I mean, shoot, Kaminga's like 19 years old, maybe 20 years old.
Yeah.
Like, and
He's yeah.
so is Wiseman. So, um, yeah, I'm not worried at all. They'll figure it out. Um,
And that's
it's like if the Bulls started 3-4 back in '96, like would anybody care? Right?
yeah,
'97, like nobody cared. That's how I feel about the Warriors right now. Jeez.
right. I don't mean to completely bring back the Nets, but they were on kind of list of like they were 1-5 really until last night. We concern. I mean, I personally
I
said
am a
I'm
little
not. I don't
concerned.
remember
I
really.
am a little concerned about the Nets,
I mean, head coaching change in the midst of being 2-5. It's
and
not a good look.
that's why. How do I say this? The Nets, the difference between the lack of concern with the Warriors and the concern with the Nets is one, older superstars. Two, just like the Warriors are much more proven than the Nets. What have the
Oh
Nets?
yeah,
What have the Kevin Durant Nets been able to accomplish? Literally nothing. So what's their real ceiling here? A
right.
first or second round exit? Like, yeah, they could get back to that. Like, yeah, but that's it. So I just don't see the vision, honestly, unless they bring in if they bring in Udoka and that defensive culture. That's really the bottom line. This team has struggled since day one, since it was formed. They were better with D'Angelo Russell.
Yeah, that's a hot take. Yeah, same result as last year. Um, yeah, I'd have to agree. And like, there's definitely some, definitely not a positive beginning for them. But I think ultimately they should bounce back. Getting Ime Udoka would greatly help their really contender chances. I mean, that's what it would have to be. I think if they get just a casual interim coach, I think I had him at my 3 or 4 seed. I think second round exit does seem. I don't see them in the conference finals.
No,
I don't think they're one of the top 2 teams in the East. Definitely not coming out of the East. That's my opinion. But
no, they
yeah,
can't.
no,
They
I think
definitely can't beat the Bucks.
yeah, no, that's just yeah. They that was a fun game to watch. Steve Nash got ejected. That probably helped contribute to his firing. But I guess my last concerning teams, the Clippers. It's really I say team, but the Kawhi concern grows more to me because he just can't stay on the floor. Like John Wall, who's been out for like 2 3 years, has been playing more minutes than Kawhi. They've been using him off the bench when he plays, and I'm just kind of curious on. There's definitely no panic because the Clippers seem to figure it out every year, but is there concern, especially in the Kawhi camp?
Um, we briefly touched on this last week. I'm concerned. I really am. This
Yeah,
is why is he coming off the bench? Why is he not playing? Okay, so in my sense, if we're going to load manage, it should be you're going to play your normal minutes or not play at all, because
right.
at some point, this is becoming stupid. Like, sure,
It is.
you're gonna play 20 minutes every game until April, and then we're just gonna throw you into the starting lineup. How is that gonna how is that gonna mesh with your team? How is that gonna work?
No,
Right? Like it doesn't unless you're planning, unless he's just really injured and he's just a shell of who he was, and we don't know that. And he's a role player for that team, and he's accepted that role, which I just find ridiculously unlikely. Yeah,
yeah,
I am concerned about Kawhi Leonard's health. I think that what we're being told is partially not true, and
yeah. I don't think
yeah, it's speculation, but it just doesn't make sense. Because if this really is all about load management and keeping him healthy, why are you playing at all at some point if you're that scared of getting hurt? Like it's not that.
yeah, basketball isn't
I'm
that
not saying that he has
crazy.
to play 48 minutes, but like he could at least play 25. Like I at some point
Agreed.
you got to play basketball, man. Like you're 2-5, and that's the other side too. Is if they were winning, you'd be like, all right, it's working. So winning cures everything. But they're 2-5. Like they're not good. So
They need him. Yeah,
yeah, they need his input. They need his output. Sorry. So yeah, I am concerned. Not about the Clippers, but more about Kawhi.
that's pretty much how I feel in the aspect of Clippers are gonna make playoffs. Still, they've been doing. Paul George, even again, still looks really good. But yeah, for Kawhi's sake, and just honestly, the Clippers' chances at anything this year, you're gonna need Kawhi. I mean, that's just plain and simple. It's been like that every year. It's like, oh, this team could be so good with Kawhi. It'd be so good.
I'm
And we have
tired.
yet to see it.
I'm
Yeah, like
tired. I'm tired of waiting for it.
right, like it needs to be seen. And if we're not going to see it again, that's you got to be really disappointed. As Steve Ballmer, the whole reason they even brought in Paul George was to attract Kawhi, and Paul George has been more reliable, which
Yeah.
is crazy to say it, especially at the time when Paul George was coming off the Dame walk off. But I'll give it. I do think Paul George went from like very overrated to a little underrated camp of things. Like he can be a
Underrated,
number one option on a playoff team
overhated, like
for sure.
very fast.
Yeah,
And
but
you mentioned Dame. Trailblazers are 5-1, and this might age in this might it might take here, might age like fine wine here, because this is, I'll even admit, unexpected to be 5-1. I understand it's 6 games, like I'm not jumping ahead,
yeah,
but like to pull up the standings and to see them atop the West is just still just doesn't feel, it feels weird. um, Early thoughts on the Trailblazers here. I mean, are they a legit top 6 seed? You know, no play in, I guess.
Yeah, just how deep the West is, I think they're going to find themselves in the play-in, and we'll see. Like how that roster is playing at the time. But like, yeah, right now they look good, but also like the Jazz look good, and so like those are two teams that I'm like kind of I can't hate on at the moment. It's like, wow, they're playing well, but I'm watching. I'm like, there's some things that aren't gonna always happen. Like Laurie Markkinen basically looking like Dirk is just not
Yeah,
gonna
The
happen every
Jazz
night.
feel like the New York Giants right now.
Pretty much,
I know what you are, and they're both
yeah.
6
And
and 2.
so, yeah, I don't think the Trailblazers are on that extent of like they're
From
not gonna make playoffs because I will be shocked if the Jazz get a play in. Really, like they
yeah,
should be
well,
bottom four team
I
in the
could see
West.
the Jazz getting to 10.
You know what though? Like at this, it's hard to
Well, I mean,
deny it at this rate.
it's just a matter of numbers game at this point. Like, you know how hard it is to not make the play in. Like, if you're an average team, you should, like, if you win half your games, you
Right.
should be
But it's
right
just
around that
who are the
spot.
bottom five teams in the West? And personally, I'd probably put them in there.
Well, that's because you're saying that the Lakers are better than them, and I
I think I think
don't.
they at least get a play in, like at the bare
uh,
minimum. I don't think they're bottom five. There's teams way like the Spurs come to mind is like are in the
Spurs.
cellar of
That's another 5 and 2. That's another surprise.
yeah.
It's just
And
like
again,
weird. It's just weird. I don't have much to say. Like,
Jakob Pertle's been going off. Like I don't know what the
the West is gonna figure itself out, as
hopefully.
we keep going, because I don't see the Blazers getting the 1 seed. I don't.
Yeah.
But I could see them, maybe if they're gonna be this good, I could see them maybe getting 6 seed. Like, if they're just gonna not like, if this is sustainable.
Yeah,
Um,
that's a
five
good
and one.
ceiling for him.
Yeah,
That is.
that's accurate. All right. I I I do have. Let's pivot from the player talk here, or from the team talk here, and let's talk about players. Who's your biggest surprise so far?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I know I touched on it, but Laurie Markkinen, like, actually looking good
Yeah.
is such a crazy just concept, even. Greg is, I thought even just playing with the Cavs helped his case. There's a lot of bigs and whatnot to focus on that weren't him. So I thought, well, going to the Jazz, he's the only guy that's with like Colin Sexton and Clarkson. Like they don't have a lot of people, so I just thought teams would kind of key in on him at least a bit more, and it just really hasn't mattered. The guy looks really good. If he sustains it, Bulls might regret getting rid of him in the first place. We'll see though. It's like you said,
How
it's
about
so early, and I don't know. Like Dennis Smith Jr. has been playing actually pretty well for the Hornets. Like there's just some interesting names, but I don't know. You got any that come to mind?
I mean, it is a weird question, because like you want to pick a guy who's not a superstar.
Yeah,
um, Guy that comes to mind that it's weird, but guy that comes to mind that I think has been playing really good. This is Tyrese Halliburton's first full season in Indiana.
yeah,
He's averaging 21 and 9.5, or 22 and 9.5. So I think this was a great trade. Like, a year or so removed, maybe a little bit less from Indiana's perspective.
Kings should not have moved off from that quick.
Oh
That
no,
was
not in a million years.
so dumb.
I am a Tyrese Halliburton growing fan, and I just like the way he plays, and I think that he shoot. Let me double check their record. They're 3-5, but I mean the Pacers aren't going to be anything special. Um, but I think that
He's been competitive.
he's been. I don't think he's that big of a surprise to be these good numbers, but I just want to give him a shout out, I guess.
Yeah. Actually, his teammate is like I think the big rookie surprise. Not to himself. Benedict Mathurin, I believe is the name. He has been averaging like 20 something off the bench and going in like he's somebody asked him about like playing against how it feels like playing against LeBron or whatever, and he's like LeBron should feel better like playing against me or whatever. He's just very confident, and for a rookie, you love it. But to see it translate literally in the first couple games, when I don't even think he was drafted extremely high. I believe he was mid first round. He's really the only contender right now with Paolo for rookie of the year. But I mean, Paolo's been sensational so far.
Yeah, he has. That was a good rookie of the year pick. He's been very solid. Another guy, I don't know how I missed him. Another guy who I think is a budding superstar. And he's been a surprise to me to be this good. Is SGA averaging 31 points, 5 rebounds, and 7 assists so far this year.
Mm.
31 points is ridiculous. If you ask me, on a Thunder team that's not good on paper, so young,
right?
And once they actually start trying to win games, I think that they could be good. But yeah, Shy, he showed flashes like this last year, and when literally they don't let him play and they cite load management, and it's becoming a joke. It's Victor Wembanyama load management because it's so clear what they're trying to do.
Yeah,
he's so good. He is. I'm a big SGA fan. I think that this Thunder team in like 2 or 3 years, especially if they get Victor Wembanyama, could be ridiculous. I mean, just ridiculous because we're not even talking about Josh Giddey and the other young guys, young pieces that they also don't let play because they want to lose games.
right.
This has been my biggest surprise. Just the number 31 points a game, in my opinion, is ridiculous. I know it's only 6 games, but and I don't even think he's played every game. But yeah,
I think
he's played 5 games.
Definitely keep on that pace.
He's
definitely capable. Like he's an extreme. Like he's still, I think, underrated. Really,
yeah,
like,
and that's why I'm saying this is he needs to stop. I mean, he needs to be put in whatever the next tier is. He needs to be in that and on the cusp of getting to the one after that because
he's definitely one of the better guards. Like
he should be an all-star. He's a superstar. Like
definitely. And I think for the Thunder case, their best case scenario is like the Pelicans, where all your young guys all of a sudden are healthy and you look like a threat.
Yeah.
Granted, I don't know.
I mean,
turn out this year. I think it's still a matter of if that team can stay healthy, because how injury prone they are. But hey, the Thunder, like Giddey, Shy, 2 7-footers, and Chet and Victor Wembanyama. I don't care who the 5th guy is. Yeah. That is deadly. That's gonna be a crazy team.
It's pretty ridiculous. And we are getting ahead of ourselves a little bit with that Victor Wembanyama assumption. But when you have 30 draft picks to be able to trade to just whoever gets that, whoever wins the lottery.
4 and pulling from Curry land.
Well, I'm not saying we're getting ahead of ourselves on Victor Wembanyama himself. I'm just saying if the Thunder can get him, is yet to be seen. Because I guarantee if the Rockets get the number 1 pick, they're not going to – it doesn't matter what Sam Presti shows them. It's going to take it. It's it's going to come down to the lottery odds.
It's not going to be a better prospect for a while. That's really the best.
I think it's the best prospect since LeBron.
Yeah.
I think it's a fair statement from a prospect perspective.
Right. Because really, not in the last years have I seen a number 1 pick anything near this.
Yeah, I think that's fair. You want to pivot to some better or worse?
Yeah.
Yeah. This is the fun one with basketball teams. I'll put you on the spot first. Better or worse? Let me find a name here. Better or worse? Kyrie Irving. We'll go. Actually, we already did this, didn't we?
I think we did Ja,
Oh, we did Ja.
and
Yeah.
you brought up Kyrie, and I was like Ja all the way.
All right. Let me change that. Let me change that then. Better or worse? DeJounte Murray.
Okay.
Let me. I'm gonna pull up his numbers so far this year with his new team in Atlanta. But DeJounte Murray this year is averaging.
Did I do this one before?
I don't think so.
For the season?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Oh no, you did it for me. I think.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I like DeJounte Murray. Oh, you want to
Uh,
flip and do Trae Young?
yeah. All right, let's do Trae Young then. We'll do Trae Young. Sorry, guys. We should have prepared this. Trae Young's stats. For reference, this year he's averaging 29, 10, 29 and 10, and I don't know how many rebounds. 3.
Typical. Yeah, typical Trae Young style.
So Trae Young. We'll start. We'll start. Let me make it a little easy. We'll go Jordan Poole.
Trae Young.
Yeah. Okay. Figured. Just get started out. Guy, they play a little bit similar style. So Trae Young or Kyrie Irving.
Kyrie Irving, just because he can
Wow.
be. Yeah, they kind of strike me as the same player. I think Trae Young can. He's a little bit more aggressive, so he gets to the line more. But in terms of like offensive capability, I'd say it's relatively the same. And Kyrie's definitely a better defender in my eyes, just due to his size. Just Trae Young's just so small in the court, and
Okay.
nothing against him. It's just got to take that into account.
Okay. I disagree. But
Fair.
Trae Young or we'll keep the ball rolling. Trae Young or D'Angelo Russell.
Trae Young, yeah.
Okay. Trae Young or Luka Doncic.
Nah, yeah, Luka's, yeah, he's so much better in my opinion.
Figured.
He's top, 5 in the NBA at least.
Trae Young or Devin Booker.
Yeah, that's a tough one, but just uh, Devin Booker, I guess, was like technically had more, but it's not like you could flip the guys because the team of Chris Paul and Trae Young would just not work. I'm gonna have to go with Devin Booker. Just I think he's just a better fit for most teams.
I would have
Doesn't
to agree.
score as well, but he still scores and like still pretty automatic. So yeah, I'll have to go for Devin Booker. Sorry guys, that's not for me. I know it sounds like they're right outside my mouth.
I was about to ask. What's
Yeah, this is
going on here, man? You got
I
Walter
hope
White
I
operating.
really hope somebody's like, nah. It's so close.
Wow, that is really close.
They just go right by the front door. Sorry about that.
No, no worries.
Quick
We'll keep it rolling. Trae Young or Damian Lillard.
Yeah, especially the way I watching this Dame play this season. It's kind of I'm never gonna be like, oh, Dame better than Curry, but there was a good crowd at a certain point, like not long ago, that was
Yeah,
Dame is
okay.
better
Well,
than Steph Curry.
people are, but I think we can all agree that was an extreme overreaction to Steph
It's
Curry
just
being
like the
hurt.
Justin Herbert better than Mahomes argument. Like it's it's just not there. But
Yeah.
to Dame's credit, he's better than Trae Young in my eyes, and like he's one of those guys that can go for 40.
Well, Dame
Kind
has
of
proven that he can be on a bad roster and still carry a team to playoff success, relevant.
right.
And that was where Trey has some. I know they got to the East Finals. Did they get to the East Finals?
They did. I believe it was last year. Um,
I don't know. Dame's got a
Not
more
like last like the year prior, like
Dame's got
when
a
the
bigger
Bucks
body
lost.
of work, I guess is
Yeah,
where I'm headed with that.
no, it's very fair.
All right, one more. Trey Young or Ja Morant?
Ja, you
It's
can
your
just do
boy.
more for your team, and yeah, I know, but yeah, I guess Trae Young technically has made it farther in the playoffs, but I just feel like Ja has definitely done more with less in terms of objectively speaking. I know the roster is criminally underrated, but I also don't think it's got some of the talent the Hawks have had. Um, and yeah, I don't know. I just don't think I can make the argument that like Ja can just finish better. He can play defense. The only thing he just can't is shoot as well as Trae Young. But I overall just think he's a better player.
All right.
What is your thought? What do you think?
I would
That's the
lean.
last one. I'm
I
curious.
would lean Ja.
You would lean
I
Ja.
think
Okay.
he's a more of a game changer.
He's more complete. He's got more complete like
but
packages
I
than just
think that he's on a numbers game. They're right there, so I really could listen. I could be talked into either or. I think.
it's a yeah very like 1A 1B
Yeah,
situation.
I think that Trey Young is in his like, and we say this for so many people, but Trey Young right now is like in his like, if he was Jordan, he's in like 1986. Like like
Yeah,
scoring 60 points against the great Celtics. Like he's or like LeBron's Cavs days, right? Or like Kobe, like post Shaq, where he's like trying to figure out how to have championship success. And I do believe that he will get there. Will he win a championship? I don't know, but he will get to the championship caliber level of success, and be a contender at some point in his career. And they're still finding the roster pieces to put around to build around him. So, and the
definitely.
same exact thing goes for John actually. So,
Yeah,
um, yeah,
yeah.
that's a
No.
toss up.
All right, I'll take because I do have a very interesting player that I know there's gonna be a very vast majority. Well, not majority, variety of opinions. And Andrew Wiggins, better or
Oh
worse.
boy.
Yeah, there's
Oh
some
boy.
interesting ones. So we'll start it off a little bit easier. Better or worse, Jalen Brown.
That is not easy. But yeah, I'll
Really? Yeah.
go Jalen Brown. I guess it is easier on second thought, but yeah, Jalen Brown.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Well, that actually puts me kind of where I would agree. Okay. Andrew Wiggins or Tobias Harris?
Wiggs.
Andrew Wiggins or Ben Simmons?
Come on. If you're ever gonna find a
It's
bigger
very
no,
interesting of
you're
how.
never. Let me just preface this for the future of every podcast ever. You will never find a bigger Ben Simmons slanderer than I. So,
Fair,
uh,
fair, very
Andrew
fair.
Andrew
I'm
Wiggins.
gonna do some quick Warriors just internal layer hierarchy. Andrew Wiggins or Jordan Poole.
I'll go Pool. I'll go
Okay,
Pool. In terms of importance for the future of that organization, I think it goes Pool.
for
Uh,
sure. But better player.
you know, that's tough. I'll stick with Pool for now. I think like he like obviously
Probably this year too.
Wiggins starts obviously, but like I think that Pool has a higher ceiling of impact on a game than
Yeah.
Andrew Wiggins does.
Okay. Um, Andrew Wiggins or Draymond Green.
Draymond,
Oh, really? Okay.
yeah. Well, Draymond is peak, yes. Draymond right now
This season.
this season Wiggins, but I
Okay.
like we said, I think that's going to change.
That could be
um,
moved around. Yeah.
I think Draymond's defensive impact is second to very few ever. So, um, yeah, Draymond Green. But
Fair
if
call.
you're gonna go Clay Thompson next, I'll take Wiggins.
Interesting. No, that was good to know. Um, Andrew Wiggins or Anthony Edwards.
That's a great question. Edwards right now, I did just pull up his numbers. Um, Let me backtrack on this a little bit. Anthony Edwards right now, Edwards' ceiling is much higher, but right now
For
I'd
sure.
like to see more as my most improved player pick, if that makes sense. Now the Wolves are actually playing pretty good, but I'm going to go Wiggins right now just because he's more proven. If you talk to me in 3 months, I think it could be Edwards by a mile. But Wiggins is more proven. He had the All Star selection last year. This one's close though.
Yeah, duly noted. Um,
And as I stated, Edwards' ceiling is extremely higher in terms of potential impact on a game. And that usually is my mark for who I pick as better. But
yeah, yeah. No, I'm just trying to think of really other names because the only one I'm really thinking that I like want to know the answer to right now is Middleton. But I'm kind of
Middleton,
assuming you're gonna go Middleton. Yeah,
yeah.
interesting. But you definitely had Wiggins higher than I initially anticipated. I wasn't sure where you were on him.
I think he's a little like how do I say
He's
this? Like
still underrated. I feel like in my
I think he's a little underrated still, which is weird to say because he got a lot of hype last year, but like
it was
um
it's that bad rap of because he was a number one pick.
like
He's got like this.
to go back to Edwards, right? Like Edwards has the potential to be a bona fide superstar MVP level talent, right? Like that's there. We know that's not there for Wiggins. But right now, Wiggins is finding the best success of his career as the number 2.5 option on the Warriors. And he's becoming a great defensive contributor in a championship caliber setting, right? He had the best season of his career last year. And Edwards
Very
is
true.
just he's like I said, like Edwards is just he's right there in terms of talent. And I think that raw talent, I'm going Edwards. But right now, he's just not proven enough. That's what I said. Like, if you talk to me in even a month and Edwards runs like he just gets hot and he starts to take those steps to be the most improved player and be this super big all star, then yeah, it could be Edwards by a mile. But Wiggins is just he's just weirdly he's in a weird crowd. Like people could say like you're gonna respect wherever somebody puts him on their list if that makes sense. It's like oh yeah, I could see him being obviously not maybe top five, but like I could see him being um, in an A tier of small forwards. I could also see the argument for him being in a C tier of small forwards. Like it's just like
Yeah, very true.
it's weird. So I got one for you though,
Okay. Yeah.
and this is going to be a little. This is non current players all time legacy.
Hmm. Interesting.
And I'm going to put you on the spot here. I'm going to see how far you go with this guy.
Oh boy.
Better or worse all time than Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Interesting. Yeah. Yeah. Let's start this fire.
As of today, November 1st. So you know, um,
Yeah.
where do I want to start this? Because I feel like he's you know, we'll start with this. Kawhi Leonard.
All time.
Yes,
That's the debate. Because I believe all time, Giannis got more MVPs and the same amount of rings. I mean, I think Kawhi's got maybe one or two with the Spurs, but like went and led his own team. I'm gonna say Giannis without shame. Yeah, I don't think.
I think that's fair.
Yeah, I don't think Kawhi's got any more accolades.
Kawhi does have one more championship.
Right, but he was like not like the main guy. Like
He
something I
won
don't
he
count
won
it.
Finals MVP.
Yeah, but the doesn't stack up to Giannis's like actual MVP. So that's my
No, I agree. I would take Giannis over.
comparison.
I would take Giannis over Kawhi.
Yeah.
You want to talk about championships, earned championships? I can't believe I'm going to say this, but Giannis or Kevin Durant?
Here, and so, oh man, that is very tough. And just out of the respect of Katie, like he's still playing. So he's still going to keep adding to his legacy. Oh, but like,
Right
it's sort of not to
now.
be a biased fan. Like, I mean, right now, currently, Giannis is the better player. It's like all time what they've done with their careers. It could you could very well call it a wash. I think as elite as
I disagree.
K, you think Giannis is better or KD?
I think right now KD is clearly more accomplished than
Yeah, it's
Giannis.
like
He's a
what are we
30,000. Well,
looking at? Because
he's
I
like
think,
1,000 points away from being maybe a little bit more, but from being a 30,000 point scorer.
but it's the matter of like, yeah, he's got the offense. Like in terms of that, like the offensive accolades are great, but then Giannis is like on the other side of the defensive accolades, and then stacking up the MVPs and the championships. It's close. I guess I would feel probably better about giving the edge to KD. I don't think it's as bold, but I definitely could see a lot of people making the Giannis argument for sure.
All right. All right.
It
I almost got you to just say something.
was close, very close.
Giannis or Larry Bird?
This is kind of like a trick question because I know like a one-on-one and
Is that a trick
flipping
question?
eras, like yeah, like Giannis would just destroy Larry Bird. But it's like,
I believe Bird. I know he has 3 MVPs for sure.
and I think Giannis like already has almost has had the same length of a career as Bird, and I almost kind of like KD over Bird as well. Like I think I'm gonna go with
No,
Giannis, but
dude.
I just it's like, dude, you can't tell me like Larry. I love Larry Legend, but like Giannis, like in a one-on-one, Giannis is destroying them,
I
not
think
getting
that
a shot off.
Giannis over Bird is a much more. I would agree with that 100 times before Durant over Bird.
Right, and that's why I was like, I'm so wait, what?
Yes,
What?
yes. Like, well,
Do
actually,
you
I
think
misspoke.
Katie's?
I miss. Let me figure out because I totally just messed up what I was trying to say.
Yeah,
What I'm getting at is I agree with what you're saying about the one-on-one. Like they match up better in a one-on-one. Like Giannis would beat Bird in one-on-one easier than KD would. I still think KD would win, but like,
yeah.
does that make sense? That's what I was trying. Like
Okay,
I said
okay.
that way incorrect because
Yeah,
obviously I took KD over
what?
KD over Giannis. So, um, yeah, it's your question though. So you're picking Giannis.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. How about Giannis over Magic?
I believe Magic's got like a lot of awards, man. A lot of awards. Was really good for a long time, and it like honestly kind of changed how the game was played. Yeah, I think I unfortunately think Giannis just needs to play a little bit longer. Really, at the end of the day,
The
I don't
difference
feel
is
comfortable.
Bird has 3 rings and Magic has 5, and
Yeah,
that's a
like that's
big
such
jump.
a key. And it's like, yeah, do I still think Giannis is winning in one-on-one? But that's not really that wasn't Magic's game or what made it great.
Yeah.
It was what he could do for the team around him and whatnot. And um, Bird was like more of a scorer, so I take that into account. But yeah, I'll go with Magic is better.
All right.
And guys, still arguably it's the best point guard of all time.
All right. 2 or 3 more. We'll go Giannis better or worse than Kobe Bryant.
It kind of feels like bait.
That's
I don't want to.
exactly what it is.
Yeah, I don't want to take it. I don't. I'll just stick with Kobe.
All
I think
right.
at the end of the Giannis's career, it's going to be interesting,
That's
but
very valid, but right now.
not right now. No.
Let me see if I can find. All right, let's go one more. Magic Johnson, better or worse than Karl Malone?
Are we doing Magic Johnson or Giannis?
I meant to say Giannis. Why did I say Magic Johnson?
Oh, it was like Magic. But even this is like,
Keep in mind, Carmelo scored
I know,
second
but
most points ever, or third most,
and
second or
Malone
third.
got an MVP and all that. But it's like Malone never got a ring. He, in terms of like, you look at their skills and like what they do. Giannis is just a bigger, faster, better Carl Malone. It's like it's again probably we could say recency or era bias, but I think accolades like have to you have to like look at them objectively, really. Like it's just
Well, I
if you
mean, let
just
me ask you this question: How heavy do you weigh championships?
I weigh them again also like environment and like as Charles Barkley said, like or were you the bus driver essentially or just a bus rider? And I think that like that's why Kawhi's obviously his Raptors championship is more valuable than Spurs one. Both are valuable though. Like I do put a lot of
Yeah,
weight in that. Probably more than even like how many points you score in your career, but not like Kawhi in terms of all time like career numbers is crap, but we all know what he can bring. Like
yeah.
some guys just don't have his the longevity factor. So like yeah, I can appreciate Karl Malone's longevity, but like that's really the only reason you could put him above Giannis. It's not for anything else, in my opinion, in terms of awards or anything like that. It's just he scored more points and was just better for a longer time. So, or not better, but good for a long time. You get the idea. I'm gonna go with Giannis,
I
and
think that's
yeah, I'm
fair.
not really thinking twice about it. I don't know if they're even.
What do you mean? You literally did think twice about
I was thinking, but
it.
like as I really walk it through, like you can't no one like if you're picking like who you want like all time, no one is taking Karl Malone to be honest.
No, I
Like
agree.
I understand
I
you
agree.
look at like the scoring and the records, it's like, oh, he's better per se, but I just can't do that as a basketball fan.
I, I agree. So
Yeah. Okay.
that's all I got
No, yeah,
to
that's
try and bait you into taking Giannis too high.
yeah, I'll definitely I like the all time one. I'll have a one cooking for you next week for sure.
For
I'm
sure.
debating if I want to throw you a typical one you have opinions for, or one that's gonna be interesting. I'm really gonna think about it. I was also curious. I don't know if you've watched the Inside the NBA with Shaq, Chuck, Kenny. They got that segment with Charles Barkley, who he played for. I think that would be pretty interesting to do before next. I think if we
Who
do it
he
next
played
week,
for? Oh my
before we
gosh.
yeah, before we get into the season, we start recognizing who is where. We should, and again, I'm not going to do anything, out of character or what this week. Just look for guys on rosters that the only requirement is they have to have played, like they have to be like a journeyman. All right, we'll have to say they have to have played for 4 or 5 years at least in the league. Like they have to. We'll set
All
it at
right.
5. We want to look for like the bums that are like this guy's still in the league, like
What
that type
was
of thing.
I'm already thinking of one, and I hope he's still in the league. I gotta think of that guy's name
I
because
I think I want to
he
like be
was
like what?
actually like known for what happened. Yeah, I'll get you on him next week. All right, that's a great segment. We are definitely
Yeah,
doing
it's
that
gonna be
next
fun
week.
for sure.
Um,
But yeah,
but yeah,
guys can look forward to that.
any closing thoughts?
No, I think ultimately, it's these basketball episodes is really just speculation at this point. We're
Yeah,
still, yeah, we got some results to start the season, but it's not
no,
quite nearly
it's
enough.
just talk at this point.
Yeah, we're probably in the next 2 weeks.
Except
We're
for
gonna
the
have more of a
Lakers,
handle.
they're trash. The Lakers are
Yeah,
bad.
yeah, okay. We'll see about that. All right. Well, I think these next 2 weeks should hopefully be better. They can't be worse than what's happened. Knock on wood. Um, but yeah, I'm definitely.
Did you see the clip of Anthony Davis like going up for a layup? I think it was on. I don't know if it was on Shaq and a Fool, but he goes up for a layup, and it might have been on TikTok. I saw it, and they were like, "Anthony Day to Day Davis back at it again." And it's like right at the end of the Nuggets game, and he goes up for the layup, and then he just like comes down, and he's like, "Oh!"
Oh,
And it's
holding
like
his
holding his
back.
back, and it's just
Yeah.
like hobbling down the floor, and it's like, dude, this dude is just At what point do we just say he's so injury ridden? It's
He needs to
just
get a
like
chiropractor.
it's
Uh,
insane, man.
the amount of like just back injuries I see, we almost went the whole episode without it.
um, yeah, we got a lot of siren noises on your behalf here, so we
Yeah,
apologize for that,
sorry
guys.
about that.
First,
I don't
first
really
the
know what's
cops showed up, and now the moving truck.
it's the fault of living in Milwaukee. I really need to just like soundproof this entire room. I'd probably sleep better at night if I did.
But
Um,
yeah, as always, thank you guys for listening. Be sure to check us out on TikTok, YouTube. If you haven't, subscribe to the YouTube, follow us on TikTok, follow us on Instagram, and yeah, we're gonna keep pushing content out to you guys. We appreciate all you listeners. So
yes, sir.
yeah. With that being said, as always, Christian, have a good one, man, and
Yes,
see you
too.
guys on Thursday for. Oh, I guess we should pick our Thursday night football teams here.
Oh yeah, just get the pick out of the way.
Get the pick out of the way. I forgot who it was. So Thursday
It
night
was
football.
that's not.
Texans and Eagles. That's a
Oh wow,
is
that's
that is
uh,
that really it? That's a
it's
terrible game.
me. Well, yeah,
I
Eagles.
guess we're
I could
both
go
picking
flying.
we're both picking the
If anything
Eagles.
else happens, there's something in the air.
Yeah,
Wow.
I smell something fishy here.
Yeah.
Week 9. Yeah, it's Eagles Texans. All right, we're both picking the Eagles. I don't even need to talk about that. So, yeah, Christian, you have a good one. Thanks again for listening, guys. Be sure to check us out on everything. And until Thursday, take it easy.
Yes, sir.
This is